Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So, the road less taken, that's what we're talking about here. What does that really mean? Walking by the road, watching a tree being cut, stopping there and asking a question, why is this happening? Expressing a concern. People who do that are taking the road less traveled. Going to a shopping mart, being offered a free of cost plastic bag versus a 5 rupee jute bag. And you take that 5 rupee jute bag because you're conscious about the environment and you want to take the stuff back home in that, then you are the person who's taking the road less traveled. Getting up early in the morning, that too on a Saturday, sacrificing your sleep, coming to TEDx, you are the people who are taking the road less traveled. Talking about the road less traveled, I'm going to talk in perspective of going green, because that happens to be one of the most important roads that need to be taken in the 21st century. In my slides, I'm basically going to talk about what stops us from taking the road going green and what are the benefits. You guys must have recently noticed and heard these things that I'm just going to say. Go green. We are going green, are you? We are switching to green technologies. Now, there's green all around us. Media, politics, and even technology. It's really hard to kind of get rid of it or take yourself out of the scope. It's like radioactive. Green is affecting all of us. Now, in order to understand the concept of going green, we need to understand the bigger concept so we can start taking small little steps and set goals for ourselves as individuals and as communities. Now, that's why today I'm going to talk about why to go green instead of the typical how to go green. So the focus is why. Before we go ahead and into the why and the hows of going green, it's really important that we find out what does going green really mean. Now, personally, might be 7, 8 years back when I was not into this, I thought going green is about, okay, let's plant trees. Okay, teacher, let's go to the garden, let's plant some trees and oh, yeah, we are green. But that's not the case. Recycling stuff is not going green. That's a part of it, but going green is a very big concept. And just to tell you in brief, going green is about changing the way, approaching the things in a different manner, changing the way we do things as of today. So if you look at the slide, going green, what is it exactly? It's about something which relates directly to the environmentalism. It's about ideas. It's about social movements that can be taken in order to conserve, preserve nature and environment. Whatever activity you see happening around you regarding going green, there are a lot of conferences, expos, events, talks happening regarding going green. They all fall under 5 broad categories. And those 5 broad categories are listed on the screen right now. The first one being reduce pollution. I put that reduce in bold because I really want to stress on that. Now you must be thinking, how do you contribute to pollution every day? Now, my friends, you really do. It's not just the industries or the factories out there, it's us. And trust me, we have been polluting the environment since 7 a.m. in the morning. And I'll tell you how. We got up in the morning, we took bath, we might be switched on the tap as well to do the brush. We use soaps, detergents, shampoos, detergent not for your head obviously, but for your clothes, and shampoos, and you got ready. While doing that, we didn't realize that we are throwing away chemicals into the drains, from drains to the rivers, and from the rivers into the seas. Now, going into the sea is not throwing away from earth. It's eventually entering your ecosystem. It's eventually affecting our environment, deteriorating the health of our environment. And I'm not saying that you have to stop taking a bath. I'm not saying that come over just like that applying a deo, and I'm not a promoter of deodorants. But still, I'm telling you the way you need to make a change is start using organic products. Now, that's just an example. Use organic shampoo, organic soap. Everything is available. If you look for it, you'll find it. Talking about coming to the venue, most of us drove to the event. In fact, most of us. Some of us took public transport, and they're already taking the road less traveled. So, I really appreciate them. But coming to the event, driving down, and I'm not saying you should have not come to the event again, otherwise Mohit is going to kill me. But you should have come here by carpooling or might be through public transport. When you carpool, you taking 4 or 5 people along. And you will say, how would I come to know who's coming along from that area? People have a lot of excuses. But trust me, there are websites out there who help you carpool. You put down your location, you get alerts on who's coming from where, and you can get into that car. It's as easy as that. We are comfortable picking up calls. like picking up our phone and giving a call to a radio taxi, but we are hesitant in doing this. Why is that? That's what we're going to talk further. Second and the third point, and I'm talking second and third together because they go hand in hand. Conserve resources, conserve energy. Energy comes from resources. Resources are limited. Resources are natural, and they are coal, oil, and natural gas. I know we're coming up with sustainable ways of generating energy, like solar energy, wind energy, but still there are challenges in harnessing it. And the biggest challenge is not the technology doing it. The biggest challenge is us, people sitting in the room, people outside, everywhere, because we are hesitant in adapting those technologies. We think, okay, it's not going to be worth it, because ideally, solar panels don't come in that cheap. You have to invest. But if you were really educated about it, or if someone told you, I'm not saying it's your blame, but if someone told you about it, the return on investment on solar panels is amazing. And definitely we can talk about it further. Resources. Now, I was just reading this, I went to the site for WWF, and I was reading one of the surveys, and when I analyzed it, I figured out that we human beings are using 20% more resources than Earth can produce. Now, that's how resources are going down and population is going up. From 1970 to 2000, the population of the Earth, land, marine, and might be the freshwater species has gone down by 40%. At this rate, we will outstrip Earth's capacity to sustain life. And that's really alarming. Reduce consumption and waste. That's the fourth principle on the screen out there. We all have heard, like even I just went to the school on the side for the washroom, and I saw like a big sticky there was saying 3 R's. So I'm sure we all know about it. The 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce waste. Now you must be thinking, how can we reduce waste? Because we are going to use stuff, and then we're also going to have waste generated out of it. But there's just one little example that I can give you right now. I have thousands of them. Like instead of paper napkins, start using cloth napkins. You reduced the waste from a drastic number. I'm asking you to reduce the waste because then it involves less energy to handle it. There'll be less pollution generated from the landfills, from the incinerators. Second R, reuse. Reuse stuff as much as you can. When you reuse stuff, you reduce the stress on the consumption of new products. When there'll be less consumption of new products, less stress on the industry, less pollution, a healthier environment. So that's how the chain is formed. Talking about recycle. So earlier I talked about that going green is not recycling, but yeah, recycling is one of the biggest things that contributes in going green. We have to adapt those technologies of recycling. Whatever unwanted stuff might be, once this event is over, whatever unwanted stuff is created, there should be ideas, and there are ideas already in place on recycling it and coming up with a valuable item made out of invaluable and unwanted items out there. These are the 3 R's. The fifth point in the principle for going green is protect the Earth's ecological balance. Years ago, when the Earth was formed, environment took its shape, there was an equilibrium in place. And this equilibrium was so beautifully maintained by nature, which we definitely human beings cannot bring it back, that each flora and fauna were directly or indirectly dependent on each other. And we remember from our school times, there used to be that food chain that we used to study. One being is dependent on the other for their well-being. If I take one being from there, it's gonna disturb the entire chain out there, which means it's gonna just disturb the entire environmental processes in place. So what we have to do is bring that equilibrium back as much as we can. Obviously, it cannot be perfect, and we can do that by educating our upcoming generations, so that we have environmentally conscious generations coming up out there, sitting in the classrooms. We have to be proactive about taking steps. We don't have to wait for someone to tell us, do this, do that. We have to think of ways, because tomorrow we want to live. Tomorrow we want our children to see what we are seeing today and not a different world altogether. Now, when we talk about going green, it applies to every human being in the world, whatever is the population. I divide all these human beings into 3 wide categories. People who can go green, people who don't want to go green, and the third one are people who cannot go green. Now the cannot sounds like a disability here, and it's pretty interesting as well, and we'll cover that in the upcoming slides. Why can't these people go green? Don't they want to? Yes, in a way, they don't want to, but there are multiple reasons attached to it. So I'll go one by one. First of all, I'll tell you what going green is for the people who are going green. There are, like, let's say out of 100 people, there are 20 people who want to go green, they are going green. And those people can further be categorized into two categories. Some of them think it's a trendy thing. Some of them consider it to be a hot topic. Obviously, there's some intersection out there. Some think it's a trendy thing as well as a hot topic. It will be great if I buy a jute bag. People are going to praise it, looks good. And at the same time, I'm going to help the environment. They understand that fact. And these people who are aware and who are taking steps to go green, they hear these three terms very often. Those three terms are global warming, environment, and sustainable environment and future generations. So all these three terms related together. How? Global warming. If global warming increases, it's going to destroy the environment, and it's going to just take our future generations into a deep darkness. If global warming does not happen, we have a healthier environment and a happier future generation. That's how they are linked together. Now, but there are many people who are still not able or willing to fully commit to a green lifestyle, because, but mind it, changing your lifestyle is a big thing to ask for. We as human beings resist changes bigger than any resistance created by Ohm in the world. Why is that? Why are we hesitant to go green? Why don't we go green, and what's holding us back? I shot this small video before I talk further. I would like to share that video with you. So if we can play that video. Yeah, if we can play from the beginning with the sound.
And because of that, I think people take it to be one of the major challenges in going green is that there's not a lot of information available. And because of that, I think people take it to be some kind of a rocket science.
Just go green? I don't have time. I've got my business to take care of now.
The major reason I believe is that people in India are not ready to change. The traditional thought process is let it be. Chal hai. How does that matter?
I think the biggest reason for people not going green is cost. For an example, if you go to a grocery store, if you want to buy a bag which is made out of jute, it would cost you 10 rupees, whereas the plastic bag, it's not going to cost you anything. So the cost associated to going green is affecting a lot of decisions for people to go green.
Well, I'm doing my bit, but I really don't know how one person can make a difference.
Right, so those are some thoughts, and if we can switch back to the presentation in the meantime. These are some thoughts from people that I talked, and these days I even talk to a lot of people on social media. Thanks to social media, it's a very easy platform to know people's thoughts. We have thousands of followers if you do some good marketing there. And when you ask them, these are the kind of answers you get there as well. The major concerns, whatever I've compiled from there, they're going to come up in the upcoming slides right there. Now, why people, there are people who don't like going green, and why is that? That was the second category, who don't want to go green. Because going green takes an effort, as mentioned there, and it's about getting educated and making a lifestyle shift. It's not about change at times, it's about a complete shift. You traveling to your office by car, it's a luxury for you, and the other day I'm asking you, go by a public transport, there'll be 10 people right beside you and might have to smell their sweat as well. That's the challenge you need to take in order to go green. But not everyone who is not into green is resisting this change because they don't believe it's right. There are other reasons as well. And those reasons are, if you remember, the first person who talked in the video said that he didn't have access to information on what to do. First, and that's the top point, lack of knowledge, lack of access, information. Expense. There's always, and most of the time, expense related to going green. If I want to install, the solar panels out there, I will have to invest some money to get the ROI later. But the initial investment needs to be made. Brainwashed. I'm not saying that a political party came to you and said that, hey buddy, don't go green. It's not good for you. It's not good for your family. It's not good for your future. That's not brainwashing here. The brainwashing here is the way we guys have been brought up. We have been brought up with a very costly manner. And when I say costly, it's called environmental costly. Why? Because we don't care about the fan being on in the other room. We will drive everywhere. Even if we have to get a bread from the market, we will rather drive 1 kilometer rather than walking down and taking a bicycle. It's a costly way of living that we have. I call that costly rather than investing money out there. Overwhelmed with environmental problems. With so many environmental problems going on, it's hard for us to take a decision and take a call from our busy lives. We hardly get time to sleep, And how do we just take out time for environment? That's what people say. That's the second person said in the video, I don't want to go green, and I seriously don't even care. That's a harsh statement for a person like me to hear, but I still had to record that video and play, so I left him alive. Loss of investment, lack of time or energy. A lot of people say we don't have time. Guys, you don't have to take out separate time to go green. The only thing you need to do is make a change the way you do things, the way you approach things. So as I said earlier, now when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, you just have to be careful that when you're brushing, you can close the tap. You can turn off the tap. It's going to save gallons of water a year if all of us do it. We are suffering from fresh water crisis in the next war between the different countries, maybe for water, as we all read about it. Maybe or maybe not true, but still, we still know about it. Okay, we just need to move manually because this is not working. And talking about lack of investment, loss of investment is people say that they end up losing money if they do that because they have to invest more, whether it's traveling or something. Moving on to the next point, if we do not adapt, what's going to happen? Like we talked about, you should go green. Why should we go green? And some people will be like, what if I don't? I don't care. Then these are the three major consequences that can happen. The first one being anthropogenic climate changes. And the major result of that can be global warming, the biggest concern of the 21st century. Global warming caused by greenhouse gases, and we are contributing to the biggest greenhouse gas on a daily basis, that is carbon dioxide. Economic instability. Now when I read economic instability under this section, and I was studying it like a couple of years back, I was pretty amazed at how can going green affect the stability of an economy. But yes, it does. Economies are all about people who make the population. What's happening with us today is the population is rising like anything and the resources are going down. The ideal situation was the inverse proportion. But in this situation, the only thing we can do is we can try to control the population and try to reduce the load on the natural resources as much as we can. The last one being the exhaustion of the natural resources that we talked about, which include coal, oil, and natural gas. Might be 20 years from now, as I said, by 2040, India might even exhaust all its coal. So we'll not have, because most of our electricity is still dependent on coal power. And that's why it is hard time to make a shift so that we are safe enough and we don't save crisis. If we do not have energy tomorrow, I'll speak, you won't be able to listen because there'll be no mic out here. So that's why this is the time for you to listen. When the last tree is cut, when the last river has been poisoned, and when the last fish has been caught, then we'll find out that we can't eat money. Most of us might have heard this, but I wanted to bring it here because I heard this statement a few years back, and that's when I took the initiative of going green, taking steps against global warming, and today it's turning out pretty well because of the response from the people. Now, what do I do? I've talked about the ideologies. I've talked about some theory here on why to go green, which some of us may forget. So I wanted to in fact, I added these last 10 slides this morning itself. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I thought, something, how will people relate to it? Because even I've been in that audience for a long time and I was not able to relate to it. So what do? I do my best to save the planet. Yes, I'm the green guy, but just saying that doesn't help. If you move on to the next slide, I dream of a nice electrical car, but in town, I was not serious about it. I prefer my lovely metro, the Delhi metro, use my nice bicycle. I like to walk also. And I don't forget to turn the lights off, just not at night, only when it's not needed. I use water with moderation, which means taking a small example like turning off the tap while brushing the teeth. That's the smallest example. More than 50% of cereal harvests serve to feed livestock. And that's the reason I try to eat less and less meat. I give some money to replant forests, and so talking about this, a few months back itself, we organized an event wherein we're planting trees. So I do that on a regular basis, and I think all of us should do, like plant saplings out there in your university, in your organization, wherever you see a garden, even at your house. And these days, state governments, especially I think Delhi NCR, they're providing free samplings to be planted. And they're doing it because they're promoting it. People were hesitant spending money for buying a tree. They're like, why will we give 10 rupees to plant a tree? What are we getting out of it? So even like, although we're getting so much out of it that I can't even tell right now, but to take care of such people as well, government has started supplying free samplings. Then what is holding us? That's the question that comes to my mind. I consume local. It is not enough, or it is too late. These are two separate statements for you to decide. You think, you take an action. Turn down, switch off, recycle, walk. Some keywords out there. Do it the same, and everyone can save the planet. Alone me cannot save this planet. It's us as a community who have to do it. And our future generations will thank us. Thank you, and I hope we have a greener life ahead. Thank you.